A state of emergency has been declared, not by the president, not by Congress, but by the people addicted, affected, and left unprotected. Welcome to America's latest rebranding campaign, heroin, now in pill form. They said crack was bad, but wait until you meet his shiny prescription cousin. In the 1970s, cocaine was considered the sophisticated man's drug, a chemical of confidence, ambition, and elite leisure. It was the era of disco balls, bell-bottoms, and the rise of Wall Street. Cocaine was the glittering powder that fueled the ambitions of the rich and powerful. It was seen as a symbol of status, a mark of the elite. The drug was often associated with the high-flying lifestyles of celebrities, businessmen, and socialites. It was a time when the lines between work and play were blurred, and cocaine was the catalyst that kept the party going. Think Wall Street boardrooms, disco-lit bathrooms, and Grammy after-parties. The drug was everywhere, from the executive suites of Fortune 500 companies to the backstage areas of the hottest nightclubs. It was the secret ingredient in the cocktail of success, the unspoken bond among the elite. The allure of cocaine was not just in its euphoric effects but also in its ability to make users feel invincible, ready to conquer the world. It was the ultimate confidence booster, the magic powder that promised endless energy and creativity. You needed a decent income to afford it consistently. Cocaine was not a cheap thrill. It was an expensive habit that required a steady flow of cash. It was a luxury, much like designer clothes or high-end cars. The cost of maintaining a cocaine habit was a testament to one's financial success. It was a way to flaunt wealth, to show that you had made it. The drug was a status symbol, a way to separate the haves from the have-nots. Frequent use implied stability and taste, much like a snifter of aged whiskey or imported cigars. It was a mark of sophistication, a sign that you were part of an exclusive club. The ritual of using cocaine was as much about the experience as it was about the drug itself. It was about the glamour, the excitement, the feeling of being on top of the world. But beneath the surface, the cracks were beginning to show. The high-flying lifestyle came at a cost. And for many, the price was too high. Then came crack cocaine. Created by heating powdered cocaine with baking soda or ammonia, crack was born in the laboratory, or someone's kitchen. It was a game changer, a new form of the drug that was cheaper and more accessible. Crack cocaine hit the streets with a vengeance, spreading like wildfire through urban communities. It was the democratization of cocaine, a way for those who couldn't afford the high price of powdered cocaine to get their fix. But with its lower cost came a higher risk. Crack was more potent, more addictive, and more destructive. It wasn't just a cheaper form, it was stronger, faster, and absolutely more addictive. The high from crack cocaine was intense and immediate, but it was also short-lived, leading users to crave more and more. The drug took hold quickly, turning casual users into addicts in a matter of weeks. The impact on communities was devastating. Crime rates soared as addicts turned to theft and violence to support their habits. Families were torn apart, and entire neighborhoods were plunged into chaos. The cool kids dabbled early, smoking it with marijuana, laughing without fear. It was seen as just another way to have fun, a new twist on an old pastime. The dangers of crack cocaine were not yet widely known, and for many young people, it was just another way to rebel, to push the boundaries. The drug was easy to get and cheap to buy, making it accessible to teenagers and young adults. It was a way to fit in, to be part of the crowd. But the fun didn't last long. It was fun before the stigma. Before the media frenzy, before the public outcry, crack cocaine was just another party drug. It was a way to escape, to feel good, to forget about the pressures of life. But as the drug took hold, the reality of its destructive power became impossible to ignore. The fun turned to fear, and the laughter turned to tears. The stigma grew as the true impact of the crack epidemic became clear. It was no longer just a drug, it was a crisis. But then, the hook sank deep. The initial euphoria gave way to a desperate need for more. The drug took over, consuming lives and destroying futures. The once promising young people who had dabbled in crack cocaine found themselves trapped in a cycle of addiction. The drug's grip was relentless, and breaking free seemed impossible. The impact was felt not just by the users, but by their families, their friends, and their communities. The crack epidemic was a tragedy on a massive scale, leaving a trail of broken lives in its wake. By 1990, crack wasn't just a drug, it was a crisis. People were stuck, addicted, parents vanished, children raised themselves. The impact on urban communities was catastrophic. Entire neighborhoods were devastated as the drug took hold. The social fabric was torn apart and the effects were felt for generations. The crack epidemic was not just a health crisis, it was a social and economic disaster. The cost of the epidemic was measured not just in lives lost, but in the loss of hope, the destruction of dreams, and the erosion of communities. And so came Narcotics Anonymous, the safe haven that saved families when government resources couldn't. In the face of the crisis, communities came together to support those affected by addiction. Narcotics Anonymous provided a lifeline, offering hope and support to those struggling to break free from the grip of crack cocaine. The meetings were a place of refuge, a place where people could share their stories and find strength in each other. The support groups were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is hope. God's grace poured through meeting rooms while America watched a silent epidemic unfold. The crack epidemic was a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the destructive power of drugs, but it was also a testament to the strength and resilience of communities. Through the support of organizations like Narcotics Anonymous, many were able to find a path to recovery. The meetings were a place of healing, a place where people could find solace and support. As America watched the crisis unfold, the stories of those who overcame addiction served as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a way forward. Crack isn't just addictive, it rewires the brain. Studies confirm it changes gene expression and alters neural pathways, turning your brain into a personalized chemical lab focused on one goal: get more crack. Some research even hints that certain populations, particularly African Americans, are more genetically vulnerable to its effects, staying high longer and becoming addicted faster. Let's not forget the CIA-sized elephant in the room. Reports, investigations, and scandalous headlines revealed a pattern of drug sales being used to fund secret wars. Neighborhoods didn't collapse overnight, they were engineered to implode, with crack as the detonator. As America rolled into the 2000s, we got smarter, or so we thought. Heroin? Never. The streets were cleaner, the technology was booming, and the future seemed bright. We were a society on the move, always looking for the next big thing to make our lives easier, better, and more efficient. But lurking beneath this veneer of progress was a ticking time bomb. But Oxy, Perks, Vicodin? Absolutely. These weren't just pills, they were miracles in a bottle, or so we were led to believe. They promised relief from pain, a return to normalcy, and a way to keep up with the fast-paced demands of modern life. Why not trust something from a doctor's pen? After all, doctors were the gatekeepers of our health, the ones we turned to when we were vulnerable and in need. A prescription was a symbol of trust, a piece of paper that held the promise of healing. The truth? Those pills are heroin in a haircut. Opioids are opioids. The chemical structure may vary slightly, but the core effect remains the same. They bind to the same receptors in the brain, producing euphoria, pain relief, and, eventually, dependence. Whether snorted, smoked, or swallowed, it's the same base drug. The method of ingestion might change, but the end result is a body craving more and more of the substance to achieve the same effect. Heroin and prescription opioids are brothers born from the same mother, the poppy. This ancient plant has been both a blessing and a curse throughout history, offering pain relief on one hand and addiction on the other. And here's the kicker, they even had a cool factor. Rappers rapped about Percocets. The music industry, always a reflection of societal trends, began to glamorize these pills, embedding them into the culture as symbols of status and rebellion. Teens popped them for fun, no stigma, no shame. In social settings, these pills were passed around like candy, a casual addition to the party scene. The dangers were downplayed, the risks ignored, until the prescriptions ran dry and what was left? Heroin. When the legal supply was cut off, many turned to the streets to feed their addiction. The transition from pills to heroin was seamless for some, a desperate move to avoid the agony of withdrawal. Then came the remix Fentanyl, the new hit single that kills in micrograms. This synthetic opioid, far more potent than its predecessors, brought a new level of danger. A tiny amount could be lethal, and its presence in the drug market has led to a surge in overdoses and deaths. The rise of pills, from Pharma to phenomenon, has left a trail of devastation in its wake, a stark reminder of the fine line between medicine and poison. Let's not beat around the poppy field. America's relationship with addiction is a tale as old as time, but with a modern twist. We've taken something ancient and given it a 21st century facelift. America didn't fix addiction, it rebranded it. The same substances that once lurked in the shadows of back alleys now sit proudly on pharmacy shelves. Needles were messy, so we made pills. Pills that are easy to swallow, easy to carry, and easy to hide. Heroin was scary, so we called it Oxy, a name that sounds almost friendly, like a helpful neighbor. Addicts were criminals until they wore suits and had health insurance. Suddenly, addiction became a medical condition, a treatable disease rather than a moral failing. Now instead of chasing the dragon, you get it from Walgreens. And the poppy plant, it's the unsung hero of this transformation. Oh, what a versatile little flower. It's been the backbone of both ancient and modern pharmacology. Scientifically named Papaver somniferum, it's been fueling addiction since Mesopotamia. The ancient Sumerians called it the joy plant, and for good reason. It's the mom of morphine, codeine, heroin, and your grandma's pain relief. From battlefield medicine to grandma's nightstand, the poppy has been a constant companion. Mostly grown in Afghanistan but also found in Iraq, Pakistan, and Southeast Asia, the poppy is a global citizen. The poppy is the silent MVP of the global drug trade. It's the plant that launched 1,000 ships, or at least 1,000 drug deals. Fun fact, the US does not grow poppy for pharmaceutical use. Instead we rely on synthetic alternatives and imports. But that didn't stop a Kansas man from trying. He thought he could outsmart the system, but the system caught up with him. He was indicted in 2020 for planting thousands of poppy plants to manufacture heroin. A modern-day outlaw in the heartland of America. American innovation at its dumbest. We've taken an ancient problem and given it a modern twist, but the core issue remains the same. Addiction is still addiction no matter how you package it. The poppy flower with its delicate petals and potent sap has been both a blessing and a curse throughout history. It's a plant that has shaped civilizations, toppled empires, and continues to influence our world today. In modern times, we've tried to distance ourselves from the raw plant, opting for synthetic alternatives, but the essence of the poppy remains. It's a reminder that nature often holds the key to both our greatest strengths and our deepest vulnerabilities. From the opium wars of the 19th century to the opioid crisis of today, the story of the poppy is a story of human ambition, greed, and the never-ending quest for relief from pain. As we continue to grapple with addiction, perhaps it's time to look back at the lessons of history. The poppy has taught us that there are no easy solutions, only complex problems that require thoughtful, compassionate approaches. So the next time you see a poppy flower, remember its dual nature. It's a symbol of both beauty and danger, a reminder of our past, and a caution for our future. Fentanyl is not from the poppy. It's 100% chemical chaos, cooked up in labs, mostly in China, and trafficked through Mexico. It's up to 100 times more potent than morphine and faster than heroin. Just touching it could kill you. This isn't a drug, it's chemical warfare with a QR code. And while we point fingers at China, one has to ask, is this a coincidence? Or is this revenge by trade route? Is America fighting an invisible war where the battlefield is inside our bloodstreams? Let's say it plainly, pills are not cool, pills are heroin in a polo shirt. If no one told you, let me be the first, popping Percocets is just as dangerous, and should carry the same stigma, as smoking crack. Full stop. It's time we stop laughing at crackheads and start realizing America just found a cleaner way to destroy the same communities. Because whether it's in a crack pipe or a prescription bottle, the results are the same. Families shattered, lives lost, addictions fueled, profits made. You were lied to, by TV, by Big Pharma, by the government. You were told pills were medicine, that addiction was a choice, that some drugs were ghetto and others were treatments. But, here's the truth, pills are the new crack, and crack was the new war. So before you open another bottle, ask yourself, who's really getting high, you or the system? This has been a wake-up call, not a news segment, not a trend, but a siren screaming in the night, telling us to see the war we've been sleeping through.